Hello everyone and welcome once again to the Train 8 HQ. My name is Nick, and in today's video we are looking at the Level 3 certificate in assessing vocational achievement, otherwise known as the CAVA course. We are looking at the different types of workplace assessments that you can plan and create for your assessing portfolio. Once again, please do like the video and subscribe to the channel to receive the latest alerts and updates from the team. So we are going to be looking at workplace assessment number 4, and we are going to be investigating each stage of what a workplace assessment looks like. So when watching the video, you can pause this at any stage and complete your own workplace template. And hopefully this gives you lots of guidance and support when planning and completing your very own assessment. If you do require any support at all regarding to your assessment plans, do reach out to the team and we can help you. So with regards to section 1 of this workplace assessment template, we have the assessment front sheet. So simply we require your details as the candidate assessor if you're obviously completing the CAVA or the assessing qualification, and also the details of the learner. This is the person you are assessing. So as we know, the learner can be perhaps a colleague, it can be an ex-colleague, it could be a friend or a family member, but you're seeing them within their day-to-day working role. This is usually in the presence of customers. It could be in the presence of fellow staff members as well. So you're seeing them within their day-to-day working role. So for this workplace assessment, I am going to observe Harley Jones, who works at Bell Street Barbers in Reigate, Surrey, and I'm going to be observing a haircut. And with regards to this assessment front sheet, please make sure that you do include your name, the course location, the course start date as well. And as we can see here, we have the learner details, the assessment location, and also the assessment date. I have circled and highlighted workplace number 4. So please make sure you're doing that, so it's obviously clear for our marking team to navigate and to review your assignment work as well. So that is section 1. That's nice and clear. Now we're just moving on to section 2, which is the initial assessment stage. So what you are doing here is you're completing a series of questions. This is all about the learner that you are assessing. So a learner can be anyone. It can be a current colleague, an ex-colleague, an apprentice, a manager, a friend, or even a family member, but they must have some knowledge or understanding of your subject specialism. So we don't want to observe someone who is inexperienced, who might become quite nervous to do with the assessment. So we don't want that. So please do make sure they're happy for the to be observed within their day-to-day working role. So in regards to this section here, I have explained that obviously Harley is a very experienced barber with over 10 years of experience working as a professional barber and hairdresser within his company, Harley's Barbershop, based in Reigate, Surrey. And obviously he has achieved a range of previous barber and hairdressing qualifications as well. So Harley is very knowledgeable. We've also included questions here, such as the environment, which, as we can see here, we've included the date, the time, the venue, and also the conditions as well. So when you're writing this question, do include all of that information, that vital information about where the assessment will take place as well. The next question is to do with the qualification or the criteria or standards that you will be using to make a judgment call on the learner as well. So the criteria we are using is the level 2 technical certificates in barbering, so City and Guilds. So this is the qualification criteria that you will be using in order to make a judgment call based on the learner as well. So your criteria or standards, it can be found within perhaps a company website. It can be found on a qualifications website. It can be found also within perhaps a staff handbook as well. We'll come on to this a little bit later, just within the video. Within the next question as well, please do identify whether there needs to be any additional support for the learner, such as extra time. You can make any reasonable adjustments, such as having obviously a reader, a scribe, a support staff member to assist the learner with the assessment should required. So use your judgment there. If there is a qualified assessor present, then please do highlight that with a yes. There's no qualified assessor present for this assessment. And we also have the learner declaration. And just remember, this declaration is to be signed by the learner who's experiencing the assessment to say that they're happy to proceed with the assessment. So as we can see, we have the learner name, a signature, and also the date as well. If the learner doesn't have an electronic signature, a typed signature is absolutely fine. So that is section 2. And now we're moving on to section 3. This is the assessment plan. So this provides a plan, so an overview of the assessment. So it provides the reader with more detail here about the actual assessment itself. As we can see, we have the dates, the time, and also the location as well. An assessment that can be anywhere between 5 minutes all the way up to an hour. This assessment, this haircut will be 40 minutes long. So do include the date, the time, and also the location as well. It's very important to describe the planned activity and to provide any pre-assessment targets. So we would like for you to describe the actual assessment. So do here really discuss what you will be observing. So for this assessment, I will be observing Harley conducting a haircut on a customer within his place of work. I have also included some of the key things that I will be observing as the assessor. And I've also included what standards or criteria I will be using to make a judgment call on Harley's performance. On the right-hand side of the form, we have the pre-assessment targets. So it's always good to give your learner perhaps a heads up, and also for you to give them some pointers on what they could do to prepare themselves for the assessment. I have asked Harley to review and revise the latest standards, okay, within hairdressing, and also to review the customer service handbook and the customer booking system as well. Okay, so perhaps provide your learner with some targets. This section, we have the actual assessment methods highlighted. So all of your workplace assessments must contain an observation, questions, and also a work product as well. And we've highlighted that there's no special requirements for this assessment. The tail end of the form, we have obviously a signature from both Harley, so that's the learner, and myself, to say that we both understand the assessment, we know what it entails, and we're happy to proceed as well. So once again, try to get an electronic signature, but a typed signature is also fine as well. Section 4, as we know, is including the criteria or standards to be used with the assessment plan. So the criteria or standards, okay, is very much information on what you're using to make a judgment call when observing the learner. So as assessors, we need to have something in front of us to use as a guide. So when we're observing the learner, we can look at this set of instructions, this criteria, and we can say, yes, they are following their role correctly. So that is what the standards or criteria is. It's all about a checklist of how to perform your role correctly. And this can be found perhaps on an awarding body website, within a company handbook. It can be found within any sort of company policies or procedures. do try your best to find any type of standards or criteria. If you don't know of these standards or criteria, you can, of course, create them for the purpose of the qualification, but please do share these with the learner that is experiencing the assessment. My advice is to also to number or letter your criteria, so it's going to be easy for you to navigate when observing the learner. So I have included my standards. Okay, as you can see here, this unit is to cut hair using basic techniques. This is very much 2 pages, and the criteria, the assessment criteria, is it's numbered and lettered, and this is fantastic because it's going to help me when it comes to observing the learner as well. So as you can see here, this assessment is all to do with cutting the hair of a customer. It's really clear in the language used as well. So do your best to find some type of criteria or standards which is relevant to your very own assessment fields. Okay. So if you can copy and paste your standards into this section, that is fantastic. So the reader understands and knows what criteria is being used for the assessment there. Just moving on to the product of work. All workplace assessments must include some type of product of work evidence. So a product of work is defined as any evidence produced by the learner during the assessment. So this can be before or after the assessment. So for example, it could be a completed checklist by the learner. It could be a completed risk assessment. It could be a customer receipt. That is a product of work. Even a work sign-in sheet is a product of work. It could even be pictures that have been created or constructed by the learner. So a haircut, for example, well, that is a product of work. A lesson or session plan created by the learner undertaking the assessment, that's a product of work. So think about product of work evidence which is relevant to your own assessment. So the product of work for this, it could be obviously the haircut which is produced by the learner, but I have got an online customer booking confirmation there. That is a product of work. So this is proof that the assessment will and has taken place. Okay, so this is very good evidence. So it's a receipt for the customer there. Section number 6 is the observation assessment reports. Now, this section is all about you as the qualified assessor, very much observing the learner within their day-to-day role. Please remember to map your learner's performance to your standards or criteria, and also to remain objective during the observation itself. I have included the learner name, my name as well, the date, the location of the assessment, and also the 3 assessment methods. Now, when it comes to the observation report, this can be typed or it can be handwritten. On the right-hand side, just remember, I am mapping what I observe to my standards or criteria. So when you're observing your learner, you can, of course, have the observation reports on a clipboard, and you could have your page or your 2 pages of your standards and criteria. See how they're numbered, they're lettered. Well, this is going to make it nice and easy for me to observe and also map what I see. Okay, so as we can see here, we've got the observation report. So this is me observing Harley interact with the customer, to see him using a range of different barbering, hairdressing equipment, and I'm mapping what I observe to my criteria and standards there. So as we can see, we have a number of letters, and as we can see, in terms of the actual assessment itself, I have written very much the start all the way to the end of the actual haircut, and I've seen Harley demonstrate excellent customer service. I have seen him provide the customer with a receipt as well, and very much the assessment has come full circle. But once again, you can use obviously obviously the observation form, which can be handwritten by you, or it can be typed as well. Okay, so please do complete a page or maybe 2 pages maximum of the observation report. Now, section 7 is question and answer. This is post observation. So just remember, try to plan somewhere between 5 to 6 questions, which once again are mapped to your criteria. So the questions that you plan must be relevant to the assessment that takes place. So always aim to ask questions to the learner after the observation has taken place, and the questions should be asked within a quiet environment as well. As you can see here, within my example, I have 6 planned questions, and all of my questions are relevant to my criteria and standards. So once again, for this column here, the evidence reference section, you need to write in what the question is relevant to there. So always please do include the numbers or the letters there. As we can see, I have asked Harley a range of different questions with regards to the haircut, and I have written his response as well. So please make sure that you're asking questions which are relevant. We're not trying to catch the learner out. So please do ask questions which are relevant to what has been observed there. So the Q&A section might take all of 5 to 10 minutes, but it's very important that we write down the response. Section 8 is the photographic evidence section. So please do include somewhere between 5 to 6 photos from the assessment. Once again, you can include, you don't have to include the learner's face. If it's a sensitive environment, you may wish to take photos of the assessment environment. So it could be an empty classroom, it could be an empty barbershop. Okay, so you can take photos of the assessment environment. That's absolutely fine. If we look at my photos, I've included obviously the start all the way to the end of the haircut. So quite a good variety of different photos there. And once again, I have completed the description section. So I've explained about each of the different photos and what they are showing. So for example, my final photo, Harley is providing aftercare for the client and providing recommendations as well. So that maps to that photo. I've also included a criteria as well. So it provides the reader with some further information about what each photo is showing as well. Just remember, the photographic section must be signed by you, and it must be signed by the learner as well. And we also require a date. So hopefully the photos are nice and clear for you to take forward there. Section 9 is a post-assessment feedback. So it's very important that we conduct this section within a quiet setting where it's just yourself and the learner as well. So step 1 is the learner assessment feedback. This is you asking the learner how they found the assessment. Okay, so ask the learner how they found the assessment went. So we're getting some feedback. Did they have enough time to prepare for the assessment? Were they comfortable within the assessment? So this is really good information for ourselves as the assessors to take on board. Were they happy with the assessment? What went well? What could be improved for next time as well? So do think about obviously asking the learner some information there. Okay, as we can see, Harley was very happy with the assessments, and obviously that's fantastic news for me. So I can take on board all of that information for my next assessment. Step 2 is the candidate assessor feedback to the learner. So this is you as a candidate assessor providing obviously the learner's strengths and areas for development. So this is you making a judgment call. Were you happy with the learner's performance? Did they pass? Or obviously if it's a reassessment, that's fine. Provide them with some constructive feedback. You can obviously find out, you can tell them their strengths and also any areas for development as well. So Harley did a fantastic assessment. He passed the assessment and met the criteria as well. So I've given him lots of praise, lots of feedback here within his assessments. Finally, we have the action plan and assessment sign off as well. So this is perhaps providing the learner with a target they can take forward for next time. So I have asked, obviously, Harley to observe one of his colleagues performing a beard trim. This is going to really help our standardization meeting for the future as well. It's also important for you to sign and date this assessment section, and also ask the learner to sign and date as well to say that they're happy with the assessment as well. So that is the action plan and assessment sign off page. Okay, so this is workplace assessment number 4. Okay, and hopefully this is nice and clear for you to take on board. Obviously, any questions, please do get in contact with the team and we can help you with any type of assessment query. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you on one of our courses. Bye for now.